So Kirk here with Attack Gaming. We're Terry Michaels at SOE Live 2014 in Las Vegas. We are here to talk about first EverQuest Next Landmark. Now, big things are coming on August 27th,
yes.
Right? Huge things. Most notably is PvP. So tell us a little bit about the PvP that's entering on the 27th.
Well, so what we wanted to do is we really wanted to add combat into the game. And we decided that the best way to start that is with PvP. Because if we can make PvP fun and interesting to players, then we can move on to adding monsters into the game and then make sure that that continues to be fun. So we didn't want PvP to be something that was tacked onto the side of it. But on the 27th, we're going to be launching Death, lots of ways to die in the game with health and armor, items to collect, and then you're going to have these ideas of being able to create what we call PvP scenarios on your claims. So if you want to turn it into one, you place down a few objects that define the rules of the game. So like if you want to have a team deathmatch game, you use the right objects for that and it creates that game. Or you can do like capture and hold is another kind of game that's going to be out there. And then we'll be expanding that after the 27th, adding more and more game types.
Is that a separate claim you need to have for different game types, or it all happens on your one claim?
It all happens on whatever claim you specify. So if you put these objects down on your claim, you turn it into a PvP claim, and then you can activate it and deactivate it, so you can choose when you want people on there PvPing or not. And
so with the PvP is coming the weapons that come with that. We have bow and arrows, and a staff and a sword. Right. So tell us a little bit about the three items that are coming.
So those are the three basic PvP items. These are the introduction, right? We're going to be expanding that by a huge amount later. But what they are is they're three different kinds of playstyles. So obviously the bow and arrow is long range, kind of sniping people, trying to deal with people from a distance. The conjurer staff is sort of a mid-range, where you want your abilities are focused on being close enough to them, but not right up in combat. And then of course the sword is all about getting in and just chopping people up into little bits and pieces. And then over time we're going to be adding epic weapons, other kinds of weapons that you can go and collect and create and craft to expand what the opportunities are there. But we wanted to get these into players' hands early so that we can start to tune and iterate on what combat feels like and what people think about it.
And also coming is armor, right?
Yes. At the same time, I mentioned about that, you're going to have the different kinds of armors you can get, and those armors are going to impact the way that you can go in and play in the game. So
they have different stats depending. If you want an armor that's good for close combat, throw that on. If you want something that's good that'll add some like magic damage to a staff.
Exactly. Yeah, they supplement the different weapons you can use. And then as we expand to new weapons, we'll also be adding new armors that work with those as well. And then it's going to be great to see how people mix and match them and come up with playstyles that we didn't anticipate.
We saw a cool video that had landmines.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the landmines for the PvP.
Well, landmines are exactly what you'd think about. You can place them in the world, you can place them on these PvP claims, and then they're proximity mines, basically. As people get close to them, they're eventually going to blow up. And so there are ways to create traps for players. Create a scenario where somebody tries to come and attack you, but they end up getting hit by the landmine and getting destroyed and things like that. And it's just a lot of fun to blow things up. It's what Landmark is all about.
Landmark landmine.
Yeah, right.
So tell us a little bit about the epic weapons. Those aren't coming on the 27th. They're coming in the future. We saw some cool images of them, and some cool combat mechanics. How are they different from the regular weapons?
Well, again, every weapon in the game is going to have a different kind of play style associated with it. We define before we create the weapons themselves what we're trying to give to players as a way to play the game. So we showed off some of the things like Inferno's Edge, the fire sword and shield. We also had the Shadow one and the Holy version of those. And really what it's going to be is about, as they come into the game, giving players just more options in how they want to play in PvP or against monsters in PvE when that goes in as well. You'll be able to find them. You'll be able to get them from monster drops. You'll also be able to get them in the chests and caverns and things like that. But when we get salvaging in the game, what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to take things that you found that maybe you don't want to play with, break them down into components, and then you'll be able to make rare items, rare weapons, rare armor using those pieces so that it fits exactly the way you want to play the game.
And then let's talk a little bit about the monsters. Those aren't coming on the 27th. Correct. They're coming in the future, but we saw some plant monsters, some wisps. Tell us a couple of the ones you have that are coming first.
So we had there's like a necrozoa, which is like this. The best way is like an astral jellyfish that floats through the world. We had the three different wisps. We had the chomper. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, the chomper. It's a giant man-eating plant. A lot of these were developed to make the world of Landmark dangerous, right? So we'll be expanding on the monsters as we move forward as well. So those will be the ones we'll see on the first pass, and then we'll add in more kinds of monsters, more things that you'd expect in fantasy or sci-fi, because remember, Landmark is genre non-specific, so we'll have all these different kinds of monsters in there to create danger and excitement in the world.
How do you think the players are going to react when, on the 27th, no longer are they like godlike, where they can jump and fly and do whatever they want, but now there is that danger of, hey, if I fall off my huge tower, I could die?
Oh, well, I mean, it's going to take a little bit of an adjustment, obviously. But we're going to continue working with them to make sure that, it's not a horrible surprise to them. That, obviously they'll get all these announcements. And then they have things in the game that can help mitigate some of those kinds of things. So this will make people want to get the boots of the Zephyr that let you glide and things like that. It gives you more reasons to go out there and collect things in the world.
And then later on, this is not, it's not coming soon, but the emergent AI, or customizing the AI for, is it PvP battles, or is it for, how does the AI going to come into play?
Well, so when AI does show up inside of Landmark, it's going to be in the same kind of ways that we've created these other tools. So much like what we're doing with the rule set objects, where you can create a different kind of PvP game with these pieces, you're going to be able to create AI for your monsters in the same kind of way. So it's going to factor into Landmark just like all of the other tools do that we're creating, so that we can make EverQuest Next.
So players will put these monsters into their PvP worlds, and those will also be other, besides landmines, like they're going to be battling against these monsters and trying to stay away from them.
Well, that's one way they can use them. But in the long run, we're also going to allow them to create non-PvP scenarios. So much like you might play through a dungeon in EverQuest or EverQuest 2, players will be able to create those kinds of scenarios where players can go through there and fight monsters instead of having to PvP with other people. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Can't wait to get it out.
Lots of great things coming for Landmark, so keep an eye on those. August 27th is when those first changes are coming, but then after that, there's just so much stuff you guys are going through.
Every week we put something new in the game. So
perfect. So that's Landmark here at SOE Live.